should I go ahead and I'll show what we got quick and we'll carry on from there.
Sure.
Here we go. All right, so James and I were working on, as a user, I want to be able to view a list of shopping items in order of how soon I'm likely to buy them, so it's clear what to buy again. So we have a few groupings here. Even right off the bat, I personally misinterpreted how the word possible was even being used. So that was just a good aha moment when it comes to asking questions about acceptance criteria. So we have 4 pieces here, and while I feel we were able to definitely make way for all 4 of them, I feel like James and I were both a little, we wanted it better. We wanted more out of it, but just weren't able to. So here is how the app looks right now we have the 3 color options. We haven't put a key in yet to be able to show, but green is going to be, is going to signify soon, purple is kind of soon, and then red is later. When it comes to, so we do have the items are shown as in a distinct color. They are sorted by the estimated number of days until next purchase to a point. We can get into more of that with the database. James was working with that a little bit more than I was. Items should be the same number of days, estimated days until next purchase, sorted alphabetically. We definitely got the alphabetizing thing happening. So, and then the final one that I was banging my head about was the different states should be described distinctly when read by a screen reader. And screen readers are exhausting to listen to, but if we go into here quick and, oops, wrong one, just to demo with the screen reader. So I'm just using what's automatically on the Mac here with enable voiceover.
Voiceover on system, Zoom share status per window, system dialog.
And I have the British voice for some reason because I was bored one day.
Entering React app web content. Search grocery list items, reset text field, search grocery list items, enter grocery item. Menu pop up, edit text, main.
So that's a lot.
You are currently on the text field. To enter text in this field, type.
So then I can start writing like
PPLE. App, reset text field. Button. You are currently on a button. To click this button, press Control Option Space.
So I can go ahead and go
visited
up here.
Link. Add item. Navigation. Current page. Visited link. List. Visited link. Reset text. Grocery item 1. Required unchecked. Checkbox. List 7 items.
This is where
you are currently on a checkbox. To select or deselect this checkbox, press Control Option Space.
This is where I was getting, well, we were both getting pretty hung up on, like, no idea how to make this actually say, oh, this is butter.
Grocery item 2, required unchecked, checkbox. Grocery item 1, required unchecked, checkbox.
And it also resets.
You are currently on a checkbox. To select or deselect this checkbox.
We're going to stop
voiceover off.
That. And then it also resets. So grocery item 1 for this group, grocery item 2, grocery item 1, grocery item 2, grocery item 3. So I learned that you can't just take a look at some documents and find the answer in no time flat with accessibility. It's very involved. So, yeah, James, are you comfortable going into the code a little bit and talking about that? I feel like you can talk that a lot better.
Sure.
Do you want to screen share or do you want me to just keep
sharing?
I
guess so. That way it's probably just a little more seamless. Cool. Okay. So, you know, we've been taking notes and I've got notes, but not in the code yet. We stopped basically just with our last Zoom. We haven't added anything since then, but we have a whole list of things we want to address. So I'll try to run you guys through these and tell you what we know that we need to change. This here this is current timestamp, and I guess we'll change this spacing to be this naming to be something like current timestamp in days, because so that it's very clear to the reader what this does. And then I think we're going to go in here too and do something like current timestamp, and we're going to add one of the things we want to do is add actual comments, calculates time and days or whatever. Okay, and I'm not going to do that all that right now for you guys, but so that's one of the things that we know we need to do. But that's what this does. This calculates the current timestamp in days, because we were told that in the database that we wanted to be able to show last estimate as days. And we then initialize with an item when it's first checked. So that means that if the items that it's been purchased is 0, it's going to use this initial estimate using the current timestamp as our last purchased, and then the initial estimate, which is what we get from that calculate estimate thing, we'll put that there. And then any other time it's been purchased already, it gets a different last estimate calculation using what the function wants. So we kind of normalized this function here, creating a timestamp in days all throughout the component here. We have an issue with and so Yenli suggested storing last purchase as milliseconds, and that'll be more accurate. This math.floor is causing the days to always be rounded down to the nearest day. And so if you're at 0.99999 days, it'll still just be a 0. If you're at 1.8999 days, it'll be a 1. That was to stop the database from entering a day of 2, for example. If it was like 1.59, it would round up to 2, and that's not what we want. We don't want that functionality. But if we use just milliseconds, like Yenli suggests, and maybe I should just demonstrate with the Firebase store. I had everything else pulled up with that. I'm sorry. But the database is currently all normalized to days, but we want to be able to use milliseconds as a more accurate. All right, which one is it? Pew. Ruth, Rania, Angelo, does that? Yep. Yeah, okay. So nope, that's not that one. I'm sorry, guys. What's our most recent key?
I was using
this is another
stock shall.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Trying to find one that's been initialized. Any one of these initialized? No. Okay.
Here, I'll do it.
Okay. Oh, it's npm start. Sorry, guys, we got a lot of little buggies and stuff, so there's a lot to kind of try to get.
Eggs, and ketchup.
You did it? Okay.
And apples, yeah.
Okay, so this is days, and we lose data here. We lose accuracy because these are milliseconds and they're more accurate. It'll give you, you can calculate down to the minute, to the hour, to the month, whatever. This, just gives you the day. You're going to lose some data on that end. So we need to change that. We're going to put this back to milliseconds in order to more accurately calculate when exactly that day clicks over to allow you to uncheck the checkbox, right? Okay, so that's one thing that we know we need to do too. So this is going to probably be completely revamped to convert what's coming out of the database. This number here, this last estimate, we'll have to convert back to milliseconds in a function to check. but we want to be able to see this because this is something that we can rationalize better when we're looking at the database, like 14, right? That's 14 days. Like we understand that, right? We don't understand, but the last purchased is more accurate in milliseconds. So I think that's what we kind of decided. Yinli, I could be wrong, but I think that's what we sort of decided, that we want to focus on updating those entries to the database too. All right, so this is a function that alphabetizes all the items. Nothing tricky. We just literally Googled it. I think I found it on code I think maybe Stack Overflow or something. And I didn't create this, but it just uses the sort function, compares the items names, and puts them in order. And the reason that we did that and not just use sort is so that in case like the user inputs like a number or something, because numbers will always get I think like in just a sort, I think they'll get sorted differently if you don't sort of use like some sort of qualifiers like these. What's next? Check for inactive item. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to this one because I want to kind of show you what we do first. So what we finally did is inside. So this is something that the last group created, which is where you start to like is this actually right here. So what we do is if you have list items, you can see them and filter them. And then against that, we needed to filter them by their appropriate days that are there. I'm sorry, the color code, the green, the purple, the red, right? So we created 3 different one of these. So this is one. And then there's another one. And then there's another one. Actually, it's actually 4 because it's inactive. So I'm sorry. So this is why we're unhappy. And this is what we were talked about in our last session in terms of using a switch statement. So that's like, I think that's like item number 3 that we need to do, right? Is and that's the big one probably, is maybe turning this into a switch statement just for readability. It will achieve the same exact functionality, but I think that we all agree that maybe it's a little bit cleaner, more dry, and easier to understand because how a switch statement reads.
Yeah, and not have our code be, how many lines are we at? Have we hit 300?
I don't know. It's enough. Not quite. Yeah, that'll help on, that's one thing and that's one consideration, and I like that too. But I think, what we're trying to achieve here is maintainability and readability, right? So we invoke this alphabetized list items at the top of each one of these LIs that because that's what we're fine. That's what we're the goal here is hitting this LI and having it only display either 7 days, 14 days, or whatever. Okay, that brings me to update number 4. Update number 4 is Jessica hinted at it in the beginning of her presentation that we misinterpreted what possible means, and so we kind of just decided that we wanted to rationalize the times, the ranges differently. But we need to go back to what the AC says, and so that's going to be, instead of what we have, which is 0 to 7, 7 to 14, and 14 to 30. It needs to be 0 to 7, 7. 4. No, I don't even know. I forget, but we'll fix that too. And so that's number 4 on our to-do list. So I'm just sitting here. I'm saying that how many we have to do, so I can give you, like Yinli suggested, how much time I think we need to do this. And then inside of these is our conditional render. This is what the meat and potatoes of how we decide to render each different list item in a different category. We use the filter function to pull out only the ones that meet these conditions. And I can, if you would like for me to, but it'll describe what each line of functionality here does, because it's not clear. But if this first one says, if the dimes purchase equals 0, then we just say whichever ones are 7 gets into this list. What happened was when we first added an item, it was getting marked as inactive because it was hitting a check that we have for null. And instead of doing that, we're saying if the first check to see if it's been purchased yet, which means initialized right away in the database, it will always be 0. that means we want to see it in our correct like category. Else, if there is more than one purchase, then you can just, if it's less than, now then we have to see if it's less than 7, and that's that last estimate. That's why we're checking against last estimate, because there will be one. That function will have calculate estimate that we get from this library estimates will have run, and have now the last estimates will have a number to check against. And then check for inactive item. All right, so now back to that sucker. This one is supposed to calculate, and this is where we got wrong too. So this is item number 5, is the conditional in the AC that says if there is more than double the time of the suggested estimate has passed, then that means this item needs to be marked inactive. And to be frank, I just can't figure out the logic to get it to check and clear if it's double. We're just getting this weird behavior to where if it's just greater than. So if your suggested last estimate is 14 and an item hits 15, it will be marked inactive currently as the way that we have our logic written out. And I just can't get it to hit 28 plus and work correctly. So so that's item number 6, is getting this check for inactive item working correctly. All right, so the same thing happens within each one of these filters. It just looks for 0 first, or do something else. So this is where we define that range in each one of these 7 to 14. And I mentioned that we need to change that range to be correct. And then
in general, we need to throw some comments as we were.
Yeah.
With each of the
I mean,
sections as well.
we were so over time. And then this last one, this is the one that really, this is the one that's giving us the, like, without this, it's more straightforward. This is the inactive filter, and it's and see, that's what I hinted at earlier, that this ×2, it doesn't do what I thought it was going to do, but I think it's because I had it structured wrong. I was, again, very hard week for me, so maybe a new fresh week I can get to it. But so we're at 5 things that I've calculated that we need to address, and some of them are easier than others. Some of them as simple as just changing the way we add items to the database with the milliseconds. That's easy peasy, so that'll take me 5 seconds. And some of them are more hard, like creating the switch statement that checks for all these things. I calculate that that'll take me an hour and 2 hours. So I think I need about 5 to 6 hours of hands-on time, probably just to fix this stuff, if that's my frank estimate. And that's for checking for debugging and all that stuff. Does anyone have any questions? I'm gonna, I guess, stop sharing. Did I lose you guys? Okay. Okay.
No, it's a lot. That's good. That's good. I'm glad you went over that. And Anna and Zenzi, do you want to do your demo?
Sure. We didn't talk about who was going to show what, so I'm just gonna share my screen, and Zenzi, feel free to talk about whichever part you'd like. So our acceptance criteria was to make sure that the user is able to delete an item from the shopping list, and before deleting, you should see a prompt where he can, make sure if he really wants to delete it or not, and that should delete the item from the database as well. So we have a list here. Now we have delete buttons in each item. When you click them, you get the prompt. If you cancel, nothing happens. If you delete it, you get a confirmation. It's gone from here, and it's gone from the database. I'm gonna delete Turkey as well so we can see that it really works. Yeah, it's gone. So as far as the code goes, we just, it was pretty straightforward. We added the button so that when each item is rendered, you get a button with it. And we added this function that is triggered when you click on it. And it's right up here, delete item. It takes the ID, so it knows which item it should delete. Fires the sweet alert prompt. And if the OK delete button is clicked, then result is confirmed. Then you see the message and it deletes the entry from the database. So yeah, it was pretty easy to set it up. It was nowhere near as complicated as the other team's issues, so that we had an easier week. That's it.
I thought it was a really good call out in the PR to call out that if you delete everything on the list, then it deletes the token so that the collection's gone. That was a really good call out. And that also points out to, it kind of references back to the bug we had before, where if you have empty lists, then if you end up sharing it, that list disappears without the local storage. So that surfaces up a potential bug that I think it's really great. Lauren brought it up, and we didn't file it yet or include it into this as a fix because we want to keep to the acceptance criteria. So you met the acceptance criteria. Now we discover a new bug. So what do we do, right? So this is a great opportunity to file that bug for that particular use case that we have punted before. We still don't need to fix it now, but it's a good idea. So I didn't want to file it until we had a discussion about it. So I'm going to file it, and then we'll mark it as like an enhancement for when you want to fix this later. So just a little heads up for that. I think that's my feedback on it. Anybody else have questions or anything? No? Okay. Yeah, so go ahead, Lauren.
Oh, one really quick thing about Jessica, you guys were worried about the ARIA labels, right? Or why it was popping up like grocery item 1.
Yeah.
That's issue number 6. Yep.
Did you guys?
Because we put because we first ran it through, I added the Chrome extension Wave to run it through, so it pops up stuff which is helpful to a point, but I think I'm just, when it comes to understanding adding labels, there's just some really basic piece that I don't get, that when it comes to adding the labels in the proper spot, because I was seeing like, oh, you're supposed to in the ID or something like that, and it just, yeah, sorry,
and I also, sorry, there's a lag. What can I ask just why you guys use the index as the label instead of like the item name? Because I just noticed it said
it wouldn't, I kept getting an error.
Oh.
When I would use item underscore name or item dot name, whichever one it was. There was a error that was coming up. I'm trying to remember what it was offhand.
I suspect, was it a loading error because it took a second to load?
No, it was a, shoot.
Okay.
I can
think
it later and pop that in Slack.
I think that it will end up being the item dot name. I mean, it has to be that, because that's what's going to get
exactly
read.
Yeah, it has to be, but I'm not. Yeah, I kept getting errors and then I googled errors and wasn't able to figure it out. So
okay, that's helpful. I can also look into it a little bit more too now that I know more details about what the.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. So one thing is we. For myself, I'm going to speak for myself. Like, I haven't been able to hop in and give like more detailed feedback and also do the code reviews this week. So I think, it is a tough week and we're not giving you the feedback that you need, like more details. So I think after this call, I'll try to go in and provide more like how to fix that. So that's one thing that I want to acknowledge, that we should try to be better about that.
What do we know what our game plan is? Are we going to merge as is, and or like what's the game plan here?
Okay, so I think from what it's left off, I don't recommend merging this. I'm not sure what you said it takes another 5 hours. So
I'm just guessing.
time-wise,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So time-wise, I'm curious to whether you and Jessica have time today to work on it a little more to at least get it in a better state before
Right.
merging.
Right.
So also a little peek into the next 2 weeks. It's more of a design design thing where you're self-organizing, right? So there will be team discussions on how you want to design the app, what front end framework you want to use. So a lot of that is going to be, I think it's structured so that you as a team will do like discussion. You can have a discussion board. You will decide on that. So you have time to work on that, because you want to decide on the direction, whether it be doing mock-ups and visual things before you actually jump into code. So there is some space in between that you can work on this PR before before you need to create any new branches, right? The other part about the next 2 weeks is I think it's structured so that you will create your own issues around how to design. So we'll go more into that. So I think there will be space and time for you to work on this before everybody else needs to pull it. So in terms of merging, I think that Anna and Zenzi's it's good to go to merge, but right after this call, I'll go in and do another look and code review it. But it shouldn't take too long, and that should be okay to merge today. Does that sound good for everybody?
I think that sounds good.
Okay.
I think I absolutely agree that the other team could definitely merge.
Yeah.
And in terms of being able to work on it today, Jessica, I probably can, but if you can't, that's okay. I would rather prepare for what might be a weird week and get it done like ASAP, because like if I get offer or whatever, I'm waiting on that next week. I have no idea what my next week's gonna look like. So but it's up
yeah, we can Slack about it and kind of like when this is over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And then also because this is extra or added, I think one thing that we can make room for is if you can't meet and pair, I think it might be okay for James, or if you want to spend more time and move faster, I think this is where let's do that way, right? As long as you are both on the same page about certain things, and if you need extra help. So let's try that out and see how that goes, okay?
What I'll do is pretty much right after I get off of here, I'm gonna go get some food, but then I'll go in and I'm gonna add all those comments to those notes that I have. I'll push those up so that both of us can see those, Jessica and I and whoever, and then I'll start to peg away, and I'll just try to be a very communicative in Slack on what I'm working on and what I'm pushing up to there, so that people can see that.
Yeah, and definitely like all the little individual items that you talked about, you can do those as individual commits, and comment in the PR, and we'll try to pay attention and be a part of the conversation as you're moving forward with that. So then that leaves it room to work on other things, and then it'll just merge whenever you're ready, or whenever it's at a good enough state. Yeah. So is that?
The only thing I might request is if one of the mentors, one of them can, like, when I get to the part where, and it doesn't have to be today, it can be whenever, just when I get to the part about the switch statement, maybe having eyes on that or something. Let me just ask, like, just for general feedback, did we just go about this, and mainly me, I don't want to throw Jessica under the bus. This was,
no, it's us.
Did we go about this on the wrong way with filtering all this out? Was there a better way? Like, or like, you don't have to sit there and tell me, but I couldn't figure out a different way.
So I think this is sorting is hard, especially when you're sorting more than you're sorting on a lot of different criterias, right? So it's hard. And I think when I worked on this for myself, I end up having bugs and I end up having to do a search. And so I think it may help to kind of step back and do the simpler part one piece at a time. I think the part is you were trying to do everything all at once, and that ends up confusing things. And I think we also confuse you all by saying like, oh, you need the last estimate to be in days, and we weren't clear that last purchase doesn't need to be in days. So I think there's a confusion in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll try to be available and see how it goes. I'm not sure about my time, whether I can hop on and pair with you, but it might be beneficial. I'll see about my day today and tomorrow.
Okay, perfect.
But timing wise, we would need to move to the next segment, which is retros.
Okay.
I feel like we've talked a lot about what's going in this retro anyway, but maybe we can just take a couple of minutes. Jessica, I think Jessica's the only one that's entered so far. So let's take 5 minutes until the link's in the chat. Let's try to do it, talk through it about 11:50. So let's do some quick typing or bullet points, since you can talk through it in a second yourself. Is anybody still typing? I know we have another minute, but. Okay. Okay. Am I sharing the right screen? Can you guys see the retro? Okay. First we have James. I think you're on mute. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just, without Yinli on this week in the midweek, and the on Wednesday in the sync. That's what the word I'm looking for. It would have been. I don't think I would have gotten any of my head wrapped around a lot of the issues. So I just want to say thanks for taking the time to clarify that and listen to what our issue was. Number one, try to understand it, because I know that was the big hurdle for you at first, was just looking at that monstrosity and trying to understand it. So I just want to say thanks for that, because I could have done without you.
Anna, sorry.
I just wanted to say thank you to Zenzi, because she was looking out for all the possible bugs in the database with the delete thing, and she also drafted our pull request, and she did a really great job with that. So wanted to say thank you.
For me, Zenzi, as always, your pull request was really great and detailed. And I'm happy you were able to point out last week things that we needed for course correction for our group. So it's not always easy to talk about that stuff, but glad you brought that up. Anna, your comments are like always very supportive and insightful, and you have very good ideas of how to shorten some code. And James and Jessica, I grouped you guys together because I thought you guys were on very similar, since you were paired, that you guys just worked really hard trying to make it like very, not just meet the acceptance criteria, but like very good code. And also that you guys seemed really flexible with your time. Again, I feel really creepy being able to see all of your conversations, but like being flexible with your needs. So that's great. James?
Yeah, no, this is just it's been a rough week for everybody, and in the Slack channels, people are being really supportive, and just now when we were talking about our our rough weeks, it's nice to like see each other as humans, right? And to take care, help, to be there for each other, in what capacity we can, and so thank you for that.
Really?
Yeah, so Sky's not here, but I do want to thank him for taking over some of my responsibilities last Sunday, so that I can hop on and enjoy my Mother's Day with family. Also, Lauren, really appreciate, the code reviews and the things that you brought up, and just today suggesting that we do a little check-in before starting. That was really good. I think it really helps for us to connect in that way. For these 2 weeks, I appreciate everyone's candidness in just being able to speak about things that you're uncomfortable, just hard conversations. I think that's a lot of it's a strength to be able to have that and say the things that you've expressed. Yeah.
Hold on, I forgot to tell. I forgot I did 2 in a row. Jessica, thanks for doing the accessibility stuff. Really, with the screen reader, I know that it drove you mad, but I really do appreciate that, because I don't even know. I'm assuming my PC has a screen reading capability. I've never even looked at it. So the fact that you just pulled it up on your Mac, and so thank you.
Yeah. Jessica?
Yeah, just Anna, James, and Zenzi. It's not to make it a vague comment, but really, each one of you have been really awesome to be pairing with. And I really, really appreciate that, because starting a new group and being like, oh my gosh, is someone's personality going to really grate with mine hard or something? And that has absolutely not been the case. And it's just been really nice to be able to work with all three of you, and also know that we can chat about non-Collab Lab stuff too easily. It's been really, really nice.
Let's start with you going back this way, Jessica.
So for what went well, I guess once I'm speaking for myself, but yeah, taking a break after 5+ hours of working on the project for the week, I've not been strict with that with myself, and just realizing, nope, I have to just shut off for a bit. And Sky jumped into the chat too towards the end to just kind of remind James and I that that's okay. So I figure that was the thing that went well.
Yenli?
I thought the team communication in Slack and during office hours was really good, especially the conversation about, upgrading Suite Alert, and just that's really going to inform what's going to happen the next 2 weeks. So I love that.
James?
I was just trying to celebrate any victory that I had this week. So we did it. We alphabetized the shit out of that. So good job, us.
Darn right.
And the other team did an awesome job with their AC. I just want to say that it's nice. It's nice. It's great, like when like something goes well, right, and celebrating that for them, so that we're not all drowning, right? Like it's really, really good. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
For what could be improved, this is, I think, for the mentors after the last retro too, like trying to understand the best, not to be overwhelming with code reviews, or which I think I took that step too far and like didn't do some code reviews. But like, trying to be mindful of how long things will take, and actually, especially based on our conversation today, maybe there's other ways we could support and like aside from code things. So trying to find out what's most helpful for you guys. Yenli?
I think focus on engineering workflows and communication. So, I think for myself, just being present to give feedback, sometimes what kind of feedback we're giving, it's helpful to give you breadcrumbs to kind of help you along. And then sometimes it's good to just be prescriptive and give you the information so that you can move along and not be stuck. So that's one part that I need to improve on. And then the other part is just focus on engineering workflows and communication. I see an improvement at that. I think it could be better in terms of, yes, you didn't finish the code, but let's the important thing about working in tech is not just the code. So we also need to figure out the communication side, how to update your issues, how to, just that time that we can spend.
James?
Yeah, just when Yenli mentioned in our call just now about trying to do too much at once, I think she's hits the nail on the head with me. That's my kind of MO. So it's definitely an improvement just to simplify the issue, mark, little just like get gosh dang it, and my brain's fried, to just tackle little things at once at a time, and apply, what's the saying, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, or something like that. I think I need to just prescribe to that more, right? So
Yes. Jessica?
Kind of echoing the same thing, just basic, like figuring out some time management with learning how to zero in on a specific task after breaking down the tasks. Breaking down the tasks that need to be completed in order of importance, just learning to get better with that, and taking more time to do that in the beginning versus being so eager to jump into the code. Like, it's exciting to get into the code, but yeah, to really plan out the best way that works for the team. So yeah, but it's been happening. I realized this past week I could do more of that.
Nice. Yenli, do you want to talk about the issues? I can pull this up. I think I'm muted. Oh.
Sure. Yeah. If you could bring up 13. Yeah, so so this is going to be only one issue, but it's so it's going to be assigned to all of you. But the way that it's structured is we want you to self-organize. So your team will self-organize and around a lightweight design process to come up with a polished look and feel for your app. This will require you to make decisions together as a whole team. And I'm seeing that you're already there with the suite alert, right? Like the conversations that are being had. So there's going to be more of that. And then you are free to take whatever approach you see fit. And I think for this one is also to help you write your own stories, right? So once you as a team decide on the look and feel and how you want to structure this, you can start writing your own stories. So you'll go into to GitHub and create a new issue. And this is a good practice because it's something that we've done for you up to now, but it's a good practice for you to be able to write your own stories and to file your own bugs and just manage the project in that way. So we can go over the design process pretty quickly. So one is, what is the tone that you're going for, right? What feelings are you trying to convey? So you want to come up with 3 to 5 words that capture how you want users to perceive your app, right? Like examples of like, do you want it to be fun? Do you want it to be clean, ironic, business-like? There's a lot of different examples. You can click on the link there. And then you can create a mood board. So I think a lot of this stuff is going to be scheduling a time, and I would recommend time boxing this, right? Schedule a time with all of you together to do this discussion and really focus on, in this hour, we're gonna decide on these things so that you have more time to get some of these done. Oh, my desk. Sorry. My desk is lowering by itself. Okay, and then decide on fundamental elements of your design, which is, typography, colors. There's a link to how to make it accessible, and then icons and imagery, like what kind of images you want to do. So definitely like go as wild as you want. This is where you can express your creativity. And then you can, you can decide how you want to do your CSS, whether you want to go with vanilla CSS or you want to use frameworks. So as a team, kind of decide on that and make sure everybody is comfortable and on board, and how you can move quickly. And if you choose to use a framework, you want to consider the following, right? Like the quality of documentation, how easy it is for everybody on the team to go to the documentation, look it up real quick and get this done. Is it built with accessibility in mind? How active is the community, especially if it's open source? How well is it maintained? How easy it is to integrate? Let's say if you were to change your mind a month from now, you want to go with a different look. How easy is it to take it all out and go in a different direction? And then we have a list of recommended ones, but you don't have to stick to those. There's like Bootstrap, Chakra, Material UI, Semantic. I think I used it a long time ago. And then Tailwind CSS, which James has used for his project. I hear really great things. It's a good practice to kind of have these architectural discussions as a team. So again, I think there's also Ant Design and some other ones. You can pick whatever you want. Just as you're moving forward and thinking about this, like time box your meetings, time box, aim to make a decision by a certain time, make sure everybody's on board. And, it's a good practice. You don't want to end up 5 hours just still trying to decide, right? Like maybe 1 hour on the discussion, half an hour to split up the creating issues and then deciding among yourself who wants to do what kind of thing. So it's definitely a really good exercise in self-organizing, and this is a good skill to have in terms of joining a team. So we want you to flex that muscle for this issue or for the next 2 weeks. And definitely like, ping us, have the discussions in Slack. Sometimes we may not be able to answer you right away, but just ping us and lean on us for any guidance that you need, and we'll try to asynchronously respond to you. See, any questions?
So yeah, just to be very clear, this week is the expectation to start doing the CSS and stuff, or is it just right now? It's just this is what the design, like the choice, the
planning.
what's that? The planning.
Planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think once, maybe we shouldn't time box it to like this week. So
Okay.
aim to plan it this week, right? Aim to, as soon as you decide, like, don't wait for our approval. If you feel that, let's say you schedule a team meeting tomorrow, and within the hour you can decide, like, everybody's on board with most of these things, and you feel that you could start filing the issue, then move however fast that your team can, is my recommendation. So if, let's say, by Thursday, everybody is on board, everybody wants to have the issues, they want to start coding, then start coding.
And is this one of those things where we need to like decide our pairs and pair off again, and or is it just asynchronous work more this one time, or what do you think?
Let me check the project brief. I'm actually not familiar with this part. So yeah, so there's still pairs. So week 7 is Anna and James, and then Zenzi and Jessica. So as a team, you do this kind of like design process, architecture, you create the issues, and then after that, you can as pairs pick issues. But if you're creating a lot of different issues and you feel like one is a really small issue and I can do this and I have more time, then among yourself decide, like, hey, this is one quick little thing, I can do it, is everybody okay with this? And if everybody's okay with it, then I say go for it.
Okay. And I guess a lot of the conversations will be about how granular the issues become. Like, do we have like 2 and they're like one's list and one's add item, or is it like real, or is there 20 and it's like style button, style background, style, like I don't, so we had to decide, I guess. So that's, and that's
how as a team, that's how you decide, right? Like,
right.
How you want to break it down, that's also part of the discussion. I think that the time that you spent as a team to plan this out, how granular, how you could break it down, and then keeping in mind that this is a 2-week thing, right? So you want to deliver something by the end of 2 weeks, you want a certain polished look. So there are some things that maybe is really great and animation wise really awesome. You can file that issue, but label it as future enhancement or nice to have.
Nice to have, right?
Yeah. So definitely make that list, and then as a team decide. Let's say you have a list of 20 things you want to do, and as a team you decide what are the 10 that's important, and then how much time does each one really take? Can you do it in 2 weeks? If you can't, keep narrowing down and keep making things small enough so that you can get it done in 2 weeks, and then whatever else that is left over, you can come back to this and keep building after the cohort ends, because you want to manage your time and be organized. I mean, that's objective. It's not that it's the most flashy, amazing thing ever. If it comes out that way, that's good, but it's about organizing, it's about planning, it's about making decisions and collaborating. So I want to stress that, focus on that.
Okay.
So just from an organization standpoint, so I guess the kind of idea then, Lee, is to do one group meeting, then to kind of do 2 pairs, which could be like one could make a the mock-up board, or
Mhm.
one, you know, and then after there, so they should be writing issues here, right? That they want to
Yeah.
complete.
Yeah, I think they would create the new issues here, and you can reference that I think you can reference that it's issue 13. Did I
Okay.
answer that correctly?
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking, I remember, because I think this part is kind of flexible for what you guys want to do. I think for ours, we also created a separate board that was really granular. Like especially the last week, we were like, this person styles the buttons. This
Mhm.
person implements the font. So if
Yeah.
you guys, I don't know if we wanted you to just, I mean, it's up to you guys if you want to just do it here or do a separate like design board, whatever works for
Oh,
your
yeah.
workflow.
Yeah, so this one's new to me too. This is where I was observing last cohort's team until they reached this point, and then my life got busy and I checked out. But I think in GitHub you can create a discussion board to capture all this. I'll need to look into it. But another thing you could do is start a thread in Slack, right? That have all these things, or you could start whatever you're comfortable with, a Word document that kind of like brainstorming ideas. And then from there, kind of organize it and move it into create issues in that way. I think TCL 22 have a discussion board that they started last week. So I can look into that to see what they have as potential. But definitely don't use the GitHub discussion if it's too complicated. If Google spreadsheet is easier and quicker, then I say go for that, because you know, James and Jessica still needs to fix the last issue, right? So factor those things in as you're organizing. I definitely recommend schedule time, a 1 hour with everybody, and try to figure out what needs to be done and how much time, and kind of go from there, whether you need to have another discussion or not.
Okay.
I would say, oh, sorry. I would say just what I think would really help is if you have an idea, throw it in Slack, right? Like as soon as you have it, so that we can kind of like start organizing, right? Like let's get that discussion going early as possible. Like I like this design library, I like this font, whatever, anything you want. I like hamburgers, I don't know, whatever, you know, whatever you want, just put it in the Slack channel right away so that we can start organizing and seeing. And then
I like
yeah.
that idea. If everyone wants, I can start the thread right now. If
Yeah,
everyone
yep.
likes that idea.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think in the issue there's the ability to create a mood board. So that's also a way to kind of decide on the look and feel or colors and stuff. I've never done a mood board before, so.
Y'all remember that Excalibur draw tool that I shared with you guys? That's something that I find, and you can collaborate on that. I think that's a really great way. It's super easy to use. It just helps you visually. Nice. Group app design, make a thread. Nice. Thanks, Jess. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So like something like that. I'll throw a link into an Excalibur draw in there, and we can talk about that. We can, you know, talk about whatever. So.
Yeah, and you know, if let's say after your first meeting and you decide on a design and you need help in terms of like, oh, how should we break it down into issues? Like ping us, let us know, and we'll take a look at the design, and then can maybe suggest how to break things down. So definitely be like a really ongoing conversation with all of us. So if we can get that going, that'll be good.
For sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to all four of us planning a time this week, do we just want to put something in Slack with each other? How do you all want to?
I think you could start that thread with the four of you to say, hey, let's schedule a time to do this design process together. yeah, so definitely this week, time box things, because we don't want to, because design, picking fonts, picking color schemes, that can be a really bad rabbit hole. I have spent weeks and months just looking at color palettes
Yep.
before even deciding on what to do for my own website. And I could spend hours and hours looking at different fonts. So time box everything. Make sure you don't go over 5 hours. And then, yeah, you can always come back to this is what I'm saying. So settle for good enough.
It's good to hear.
And like, you can always change it. That's the thing. Like,
Yep.
depending on what you pick, you know, that's where theming and people rebrand all the time. So any questions, any concerns? Okay, so I'm gonna code review Anna and Zenzi's right after this call, and it should be good to merge after that. And is there anything else?
I don't think
No?
so.
Okay, well, have a good week, everybody.
Thanks. Good luck tomorrow, Yinli. I hope your first day goes well. Are you nervous?
I am very, very nervous.
You're gonna kill it. You got this. I hope that.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
And I'll Slack with you, James.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
go get some eggs.